My name is Cade Courtley, and this is Can You Survive This Podcast. This show is designed to teach you techniques that will increase your chances of survival if you happen to find yourself or your family in any life-threatening disaster scenario imaginable. Each episode will put you smack in the middle of a new disaster scenario as I challenge my guests to see if they have what it takes to get out alive. Knowledge is power, people. Can you survive this podcast? My fellow survivors, if you can hear the sound of my voice, it means you're still alive, and it is my continued mission to keep it that way. Welcome to another episode of Can You Survive This Podcast? I am your host, Cade Courtley. Folks, buckle in for this next guest, all right? The intro alone is going to blow you away. I'm going to have to read it because it's incredible. Our next guest is an American-born NASA astronaut that holds a Bachelor's of Arts in Biology from Brown University, a Master's of Science in Space Studies from the International Space University, and a doctorate in marine biology from Scripps Institute of Oceanography, my old stomping grounds there in San Diego. She worked for Lockheed Martin's Human Research Facility supporting human physiology research. During this time, she also participated in research flights on NASA's reduced gravity aircraft and served as an aquanaut in an underwater habitat for NASA's Extreme Environment Mission Operations, NEMO. She most recently served as flight engineer on the International Space Station for Expedition 61 and 62, during which she conducted the first 3 all-woman spacewalks with crewmate Christina Koch of NASA, totaling 21 hours and 44 minutes. And she has spent 205 days in space, to include 3,280 orbits of the Earth, and has traveled 86.9 million miles in space. I've never felt like more of an underachiever in my life. Folks, please welcome Dr. Jessica Meir. Doc, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Cade. That's quite an intro, so I'll try to live up to all of that. It's wonderful to be here speaking to you today.
Hey, Jessica, we do something on the show called Hypothetical Survival World. And basically what I'm going to do, and this is a tough one because of everything you've done. So, folks, bear with me. We're going to go a little bit into some fiction land here, but we're still going to try and throw you into a life-threatening scenario, and we're going to see how you do. You'll have 10 events, and on each one of those events, you get to choose an A or you choose a B for an option. If you choose the right one, you get plus 10 points. And if you choose the wrong one, it's a minus 10 points. Any question before I throw you into your hypothetical survival world?
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Oh, I know you're ready, but let's have some fun with this one as well. All right, so you've earned some very, very well-deserved downtime, and you decided to go on a road trip. So we're a few days into a road trip in Colorado. You're enjoying lunch at a small roadside diner when you receive a text on your phone from somebody you know that works at NORAD. And it simply says, missiles inbound. Any questions before we get started?
Okay, this is a little bit of too much of real life here. I was just in Colorado hiking with my sister for my downtime. I'm on vacation right now even, so okay. I didn't get that call from NORAD though.
That's good. That's good, because if you did, then we're touching new ground here. This just in. All right, so here we go. Take a look. Again, you're in a small roadside diner. Do you shelter in place or do you head to your vehicle?
Okay, so I know that the missiles are inbound, but they haven't given me any sort of time scale on
That's
this.
all you got. And
okay.
you were probably lucky just to get that text.
Okay, I think I'm gonna stay put. We don't know how long they could be inbound at any minute, so I think it's gonna be best to seek shelter and right where I am, since I do have some kind of structure around me, try to find the most stable area I can. If there's some kind of metal or concrete would be even better, structure, bench or table or something like that inside. I would try to get down and get into a good position to protect my organs, you know, this kind of triangle type safety bracing position. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go stay where I am.
Absolutely. And you nailed it with the part about you do not know how far out they are. You know, if you had, hey, missiles inbound 4 hours, that's a whole different deal, but you don't have that information. So you're going to shelter in place in this little roadside cafe. You see the reflection of a bright light in the distance, followed by what is a thermal blast wave. All right. You estimate after the blast wave has passed that it didn't cause a whole lot of damage, so it's probably about 25 to 30 miles away, the point of impact. So you get up. Do you grab clothing and blankets or food and water before you get out of there?
So I'm gonna go. I would grab all of those items if I could. But the number one thing for me to do is going to be to provide shelter, because if I'm talking about any survival situation, exposure is going to get you before food and water. If I can rely on, if I'm going out to my car, I think I can get there and get elsewhere, or I can shelter elsewhere, then I would go for the food and water if I know that I already have shelter.
Okay, so clothing and blankets or food and water before you leave that little diner.
And where am I going?
Well,
it's just me leaving?
We're getting there, but right
Okay.
now for this event, you're going to get out of there, but you have a small window of time to grab A or B.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the A then, the shelter, things to help me form a shelter.
Absolutely, and you nailed it. I always say it on the show, in a survival situation, as you well know, the thing that kills you first, or can kill you first, is the first thing you need to address. You can go a while without food, you can go a while without water, but right now you're talking about an impact, and there's a mushroom cloud that's forming, so plus 20 points, perfect score so far. Shocking.
Getting nervous.
You get in your vehicle and you start, you're in outer space. We're playing a game, but hopefully we'll keep this going here. All right, so you get to your vehicle. Are you going to head to the freeway or stay on back roads in this Colorado section you're in?
I think I'm gonna stay on back roads because I'm guessing that everybody else around me is thinking the same thing. Most people are probably just gonna head to the highway. It's gonna get clogged. At least I'll have more options if I'm on the back roads.
Absolutely, you nailed it. I don't even have to explain why you were right, because you already did. You'll be looking at gridlock on freeways. People are just they're not gonna be thinking through it. So, perfect score, shocking, plus 30, here we go. You turn on your radio while you're in your vehicle, and it reports multiple missile impacts around the United States. Origin is unknown. You look up and you see a large mushroom cloud in the distance from the direction where that bright light was. Are you going to A, drive in the opposite direction of that mushroom cloud, or B, drive perpendicular to the left or right of that?
I'm gonna go perpendicular.
Why would you go if it's heading? You're right, but I know you've thought this through.
I don't know. I'm certainly not a mushroom cloud expert, but I know if this is going to be some kind of nuclear fallout, I definitely need, depending on how far it is too, I need to really get somewhere where I can be protected from that. So I would be looking for some kind of structure that's pretty stable, something that's well reinforced, something with metal that might shield. But I think it's going to be coming in that direction, the speed at which it's traveling, I might be able to get out to the outskirts and less density of that material by going perpendicular.
You're absolutely right. So the best way to try and describe this for folks is, imagine you're in a river and the river is flowing. Are you going to flow down with the river? You're still going to be in the river. Or are you going to go left or right perpendicular to get out of the river? That's the same thing you want to do if you have a fallout cloud coming your way. Plus 50 for the overachiever in hypothetical survival world. Here we go. Okay, you arrive in a small town in Colorado. Your vehicle conks out on you. So are you going to stay in the vehicle with the windows up, understanding that fallout is approaching? Or are you going to cover your face and get out on foot to try and find some shelter? Stay in the vehicle with the windows up, try and cover your face, and get out on foot and look for something else.
I would say it depends on if I see anything else around. If I have no hope of anything else, I might stay in the car for some level of shielding. The car is metal.
I'll help you out a little bit with this. Your car conks out and you're kind of in the middle of the street and you're in a small town. So there's stuff around you.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to go find some better source of shelter than just that car. Like I said earlier, I think, a building that has a lot of metal or is well reinforced. Concrete would help shield some radiation as well. Water would really be a great thing. Submerge in water or have a kind of water layer. But something with metal and concrete, a more stable building than the car is what I'm going to go for. And, car's not sealed off either. You're still going to get stuff inside even if you close the windows. Absolutely
correct. And I'm sorry I was wrong on the scoring, but now you're a plus 50 for your 5th event. So congratulations. Apparently I need to go to math class again. So you decide to cover up your face for obvious reasons and get out of the car. So there is chaos in the streets, as you can imagine, in this small town. And you see somebody off to the right in a small home. They're waving at you to come on over. So do you head over to that small home, or on the left, you see a sporting goods store? Small home on the right, somebody's welcoming you in, or to the left of the street, there's a sporting goods store.
I think I'm going to go to the sporting goods store. There's probably more, the structure's probably more metallic than a small home. There's probably also other items in the sporting goods store that I could use to build another level of shelter within. So I'm gonna go for that. I think you could get a lot of useful tools for whatever the next step is as well inside that store.
I am going to be out of a job if you keep this up. But that is correct. You head to the sporting store. You said it already, but a small home, there's not much protection. It's probably made out of wood, drywall. You're going to be dealing with alpha, beta, and gamma rays. Wood, drywall, that's not going to help. And the caveat that you said, and there's some supplies in there that you might need as we continue on. So you made it inside the sporting goods store. You look out and you're starting to see small particles of fallout dropping onto the street. Do you A, immediately start gathering more supplies, or B, do you strip off your outer layer of clothing? Grab more supplies immediately, or get rid of that outer layer of clothing?
Am I already in the store, or do I think I maybe
You've just made it into the store. Yep.
Okay. So if I don't think that I've been exposed, I could have. If I see it already, then it's probably already there. So I think I'm going to get rid of the clothes and then find something else to wear at the sporting goods store, put some new clothes on in case there's anything peripheral on there, get those away from me so they're not contaminating me, and hunker down.
Absolutely. That's a plus 70. And you said it, again, back to the first thing that can kill me is the first thing I need to address. In this case, it could be the possibility of radiation exposure and radiation sickness. Folks, if you're going to do something like this, remember, peel it down and away, not up and over your face. And we've learned something like that about COVID. Keep it away from mucous membranes, mouth, ears, eyes. So here we go. You look out the window, and what were moments ago, this is where we get a little weird here. What were moments ago lifeless bodies have reanimated, sprung back to life. You've seen enough zombie movies to realize this is really happening.
I hate zombies.
Well, unfortunately, they're all around you, and they are heading right toward you as you're in the sporting goods store. So, A, do you get some food and water, or weapons and ammo? I'm softballing this one for you.
Okay, well, like we just talked about, first thing that's going to kill you, protect yourself against. So I'm going to get weapons and ammo. I'm going to make a barricade first of all to try to keep them out. Zombies are pretty slow, so I think I have a little bit of time to gather my goods. And there's certainly weapons and ammo in that sporting goods store, so I'm going to need to defend myself. There hasn't been that much time that has passed. The sporting goods store probably also has food and water in there for later anyway. So I'm going to go with the guns and ammo because I really don't like zombies.
Absolutely, and you nailed it. Security becomes your very next survival priority. Okay, they're trying to make entrance because they saw you go in the sporting goods store. So you decide after you've grabbed some guns, ammo, weapons, what have you, you're going to head on out the back of the sporting goods store. You see some other zombies back there, and you fight your way through them and get to a parking garage. Are you going to hop in and try and start a brand new Mercedes, or are you going to get in a late model pickup truck?
I am going for the late model because we have had this nuclear disaster. Things could have been fried in a newer vehicle with lots of electronics. So I'm going with the old and reliable.
You're absolutely right. You're discussing an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, which can disable a lot of the modern electronic circuitry like you would find in a new Mercedes. But an old 1979 late model pickup, which is also heavy as hell and will help you getting rid of zombies, is the correct choice. You got one left for a perfect score, and we do not have that many perfect scores here. So you're in the truck. You're mowing down zombies because, as you said earlier, you hate them. So you're getting some payback here. You need to decide, are you going to head to a small airport you see outside of town, or are you going to head to a military base? Let's not forget what you're really good at doing here. Airports, military base.
Okay.
We are in a fictitious movie moment at this point too, so.
Now, though, this is a tricky one because depending on which military base it is, it might also have airplanes which I could fly. So, does the military base also have airplanes?
I don't know, but does the military base also have zombies? Come on, you can do this.
Sure.
Stick with your gut. If this was your movie, your movie, you were starring in it, how would you want the end to be?
Okay, well, I'm gonna think you said a small airport. So I've flown, actually got my pilot's license from a small airport way before I was an astronaut. Usually there are not many people around. Military base is gonna be loaded with a bunch of, buffed soldiers that might now be zombies. So I'm going to go to the small airport. There's going to be fewer people, and there are airplanes that I can fly, and I'm getting out of there.
Yes, and you fly into the sunset, and you land on an island, and nobody's there, and it's all yours. Congratulations, 100 points. Perfect score.
All right.
Dr. Meir, I'm out of a job here. So if you get tired of this whole NASA thing, I guess you can take over my podcast. But that was outstanding. Thank you so much. I hope that was fun for you. We'd like to do something. I think they call it the same thing in NASA, an AAR, an after action review. Is there anything that maybe you learned in this that maybe you didn't know? Or just take away?
That's a good review. I never really thought realistically about what I would do with zombies. So that was a first. But yeah, they're really useful things to think about because generally I would say especially since I have had kind of some level of survival training, trusting your instincts is an important thing to do. Trusting your instincts and not being impulsive. So even though, you got to think about it a little bit through, but I think by trusting my instincts, I stuck with those answers that were my first instinct. So it worked out.
Absolutely. And the first instinct is usually the right one. I cannot thank you enough for your time. I am so incredibly impressed by what you're doing, and you're just getting started. We're all rooting for you to have the first female footprint on the moon and Mars. Why not both, right? But thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks so much, Cade. Wonderful being on your show.
Hey, thanks for watching, folks. If you enjoyed the show, go ahead and smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell. Any questions or suggestions for future episodes, leave it in the comments so you can be a survivor, not a statistic. And if you want more from this guest, including an amazing interview, you can find us on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Can You Survive This Podcast is a Cavalry audio production, recorded live from the bunker in Denver, Colorado. Hosted by me, Cade Courtley. Produced by Brandon Morgan and Cade Courtley. Associate producer is Jeff Apple. Executive produced by Keegan Rosenberger and Dana Brunetti. When the public health crisis known as COVID-19 hit our nation back in March, the Gary Sinise Foundation mobilized quickly to launch the Emergency COVID-19 Combat Service. This national campaign supports medical professionals, first responders, service members, veterans, and all of those who so courageously stand on the front lines of this global pandemic. Whether they are providing critical PPE to first responders, care packages to our military service members, or meals to medical professionals and hospitals, this campaign is an extension of the Gary Sinise Foundation's mission to honor those who so bravely protect our nation. Support our heroes today at GarySiniseFoundation.org.